We're here visiting Ron's aquarium. The aquarium that we're looking at right now is exactly 24 years old.
It's been stripped. I've had, I've had my experiences like most experienced saltwater enthusiasts. I've had an occasion where I've lost everything, so I had to start over.
Wow. So, but this is custom built, so it's built into the house, and you can see this beautiful trim with round corners. So it's almost as if you're looking at a piece of the ocean from like a boat, I guess, or some sort of a ship. And so we're looking out there, and 24 years that you've custom built this, and you have a maintenance room behind it where I guess all of the crazy equipment is. Is that correct?
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
You'll see in a minute.
Hopefully we will get a peek, and folks, I think it's worth sticking around just for that. I certainly got a kick out of all the mishmash of equipment, the reactors, and it made me think of Back to the Future. So the lab, it's a true lab. But let's look at a little bit at the front of the tank. We've got I guess it's not a peninsula style, but it's a see-through style tank where you can peek into the back. And what are the dimensions of the tank? How wide is it?
Okay, so it's 19 inches wide, 72 inches long, and 22 inches high.
So fairly narrow by, I guess, modern standards, but I would take it 24 years ago. This was...
If I had to do it over, I would have chosen a 24-inch wide tank.
24 years ago, this was kind of what people go to, so 19 inches front to back, but then going forward, you would make it,
24 inches.
At least 24 inches front to back.
Even I was thinking if I ever wanted to change the tank or it eventually would leak or something, I was thinking of a big square tank.
Like 4x4 kind of thing?
Something like that.
Yeah, I remember, these were so not popular nowadays, but I think about 10-15 years ago, there was at least one person on Reef to Reef, or Reef Central at the time, that had that beautiful 4x4 foot aquarium, and
oh really?
It was spectacular.
That's huge.
Yes, I've always gravitated towards
I don't know how many
that.
gallons. That must be like 500 gallons, maybe more.
No, it's because it's only 2 feet tall, so 4x4. It's actually not that bad. It's maybe 300 gallons if I were to guess.
Yeah.
But
you couldn't. You go beyond 24 inches height is crazy because you can't maintain it.
Yes, it's a lot harder.
It's way harder. So I would never go beyond 24. In fact, I used to have a tank 36 way back when.
It was a pain, eh?
Oh my God.
Okay, so let's take a step back. How long you've been keeping aquariums?
Since I was a little boy, I think I started about 11 years old. I bought my first tank. I went down to Honest Ed's and picked up a small, it was probably around, 15 gallons or something like that, maybe 20. And
this is Honest Ed's in Toronto for those who are in North America. A lot of people watch this YouTube channel in Europe and
do they?
Other parts of the world, but Honest Ed is a store which I'm not sure if it's still around in Toronto.
It's a discount store.
It's a discount store, but they've been around forever. And then when did you, I'm sure you've done your share of freshwater aquariums. When did you...
Guppies. I started with guppies and mollies.
Okay.
I got drawn to these, they called them fancy tail guppies.
Yes.
They were beautiful, actually. Their fins, unlike normal guppies, their fins were a good almost 2 inches in height at the back.
Yes.
And tapered. And the colors were pretty amazing for freshwater fish. So I got hooked. And there was a breeder here in Toronto, a guy from England, an Englishman who bred them. And of course wanted outrageous prices for the for the ones that were gorgeous.
That's usually how it is.
But I managed to buy a few and to breed them.
And when did you switch to saltwater?
Saltwater started when I saw my first saltwater tank. It was the fish, the color of there was no corals in way back when, but I think it was here in Toronto, one of the few saltwater tank stores that there was called something called Aquarium Toronto, run by a German fellow, and I was just memorized in terms of the beauty of the fish.
Yes.
So of course I eventually got a tank, put it together. Probably around, I think my first tank might have been similar in size, maybe 90 gallons. And started procuring saltwater fish. But much to my chagrin, I don't know how many saltwater fish I actually lost. Well, because I had no clue about how to look after them.
So this tank you had for 24 years, and then
before that
would have been another 10, 20 years of
another 20 years of saltwater.
Oh my God!
Yeah, lots of experience, but very slow learning.
It seems. So and when you started this tank, which is 24 years old, are there any fish that have
Well, I went through a phase where an experience once where I lost everything.
Oh my! What happened? Oh God!
Took the tank. I bought a new fish. The same old story, and didn't hospitalize as a lot of people might do.
Yeah.
And it was a wrasse, and it just infected the whole tank. There's one fish that survived somehow. That blue
chromis
survived.
This is a big chromis.
The only fish out of I had a
so you would say that this fish is close to over 20 years old?
Yeah.
Wow. So there you go, folks. I've seen some clowns that would be that old, but I've never seen a chromis. Usually those things don't last more than a few years in people's aquariums.
Well, he was much smaller.
Yeah. Oh, this is gorgeous. And how old do you think is this clown, for example?
That clown would have been, I guess he's maybe 10 years. I don't know.
Nice.
Guessing.
This is beautiful. Yeah, and probably would have been velvet, because I think it's very similar to ick.
Is it? It looked like ick to me. I mean,
yeah, they look very similar.
Yeah.
At least, again, I'm also not an expert, but usually those things can wipe out the whole tank in like a matter of a couple of days.
Yeah, that's what it was. It just wiped everything out. It took about a week, but I was heartbroken. Yeah.
Well, I can only imagine. But this is, and so how long was that? How long ago was that? 15 years?
No, maybe 12 years ago.
Yes.
Can't remember.
Well, that's
10 years ago.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate, but I guess right now things are looking good. I see you've got two MaxBed gyres in the corners there that basically provide the flow.
We've got it off right now, right?
Yes, but and then the rest of the flow is done by those manifolds, which we're going to see in a second in the back there. And tell me a little bit about your, first of all, fish selection here in this aquarium. Like, what are you looking for?
I love tangs. I love the colors of the tangs. I love their personalities. They're very beautiful fish, and some of these specimens to me, they're just beautiful.
Yes.
So
this Desjardins sailfin is probably one of my favorite fish. Just the colors on that is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
there are different varieties of sailfins, and this one is I think the nicest.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. This guy is just beautiful, especially that face with those dots.
The dots.
Yeah, you got like a gem tang thing going there, and beautiful purple tang.
And he likes to sometimes sit in front there, and if you don't make any fast movements, he'll stay there for you. And
I'm sure they all know you as well.
Well, I'm not so sure. I basically throw the food in and and walk around to the front.
it's a good idea to have a couple of cleaner wrasses. This is really a good idea. And some other, some bungai cardinal.
Yeah, there's 4 bungai.
Beautiful. Yeah, I like it. It's a nice, very straightforward selection. But that chromis, I'm now gonna be paying attention to that. Okay, and then what about coral? What drives you when you look for different type of coral?
Well, I anything that kind of is moving, basically the softer corals always attracted me. So I've made purchases, and also I don't like to. I'm not much of a frag person. I don't like to buy frags that much. I like to buy them grown out, or more or less large. So most of these, I mean, they've grown a lot, what you see, but they certainly weren't. I didn't start with any frags.
Yeah, this for example, this torches, they look phenomenal, and I remember, I guess, 20 years ago, there were not that many frags. A lot of colonies were a lot more common at the time, right?
Yeah.
It's very neat. And what would you say is your favorite coral in this aquarium?
I really like that. What is the orange one called?
You know what? It looked like a lepto to me, but I'm not too sure. It's some sort of a tabling coral. I think our viewers are gonna be able to pinpoint it right away. It's a nice orangey color. I was going to say lepto, but I may be completely wrong because
I'm not sure what.
Yeah, it's great, and obviously beautiful Monty selection here on the left. Just very straightforward, green and red, but
like all of their Monty, they grow like crazy. And I've had to cut them back already. They've come from a quarter way to the front to all the way to the front, and in a matter of a year, maybe a couple of years, they grow.
Yeah, that looks
way too fast.
That looks phenomenal. So I'm really interested in taking a look at the back. I think we've seen enough on the front, but I've taken a sneak peek on this, but I think that we can really geek out on some of the equipment that is powering this aquarium. Now we are in the back room, and it does look intimidating. I would say that, Ron. So, but I figure you know where everything goes, which, in my opinion, is the only thing that matters, or at least hopefully you know where things go.
Mostly.
So you've got tons of Apex. I've seen your Apex profile. You've got every single monitoring tool that they've come out with. I see the Trident over here, and also the Alcatronic and Dosetronic. So why do Alcatronic as well as Trident?
Just to kind of double check on the directions of the KH, to make sure that the readings of one or the other is not stupid or way off, just to make sure they're both in sync all the time. And if they're not, that gives me a good indication something's wrong, and then I go figure out what it is.
And how long you've been running both of them, like in tandem, I guess? How long have you been running them in tandem?
3 years.
And over those 3 years of running them, how would you say they fared against each other?
I prefer they're both good. I'd have to say they're both good. Obviously the Trident is preferable in some ways because it measures both the calcium and the magnesium as well as the KH. But I mainly focus mostly on alkalinity. That's what I care about a lot. Magnesium I do check, but I'm not. It's easy to keep it.
So you would say that both have been fairly accurate and performing okay?
Well, accuracy is one thing. It's basically a direction, like more of a direction. They are reading about 3/4 of a DKH difference every single reading.
Yeah.
But that doesn't bother me at all because it's just I only care about about the directions, that they're both going in the same direction and they're both always in the same, they're, what would you call it, pairing each other? They're,
Yes. So they are.
Is it? I'm not sure the right word, but
I'm with you. I see.
when one goes up, the other one
Yes.
goes up.
So
When one
they-
goes down, the other one goes down. That kind of thing. So.
Gotcha.
And that they stay in the same, always the same differences all the way through.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got some sort of a double quarantine. So you've got the quarantine at the bottom, right?
It's just a single quarantine tank, which because I'm so lazy, I don't use it. But it's there.
Just in case?
Just in case.
And then there is one more. This is kind of your farming,
this is the sump tank.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is where the filtration, there's a pad here that I use.
Yep.
I find it the easiest to change. I change it about every, up to 2 weeks or a week, somewhere in between there.
So this pump is over 25 years old. It's made in Japan, rusted. Iwaki, yeah. So it's
an Iwaki, I think MD70 or something.
Yeah, we can see it right here, MD70 RLT. So
I wouldn't. I've been in the hobby, I guess, 60 years.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change this pump for any other pump that I've had. Every one of the other pumps I've ever had all failed at one point or another.
And yet you're running the latest and greatest Ecotech. What is it? MP. Sorry, it's L2. I'm thinking that you have there, and so you have the newest and you have one of the oldest pumps, which is pretty cool. You're running the UV filter in this thing as well?
No, I don't.
Oh, really?
I only run it if I run into
any issues.
But
it's off right now.
It's always off. Yeah.
Very nice. So there is this is the back of the aquarium. You can see that there is used to be the closed loop that you've closed off, I guess, now. And yeah, this is there's definitely a lot of plumbing. You've really given it a lot of thought, and the manifold where all the water is coming into aquarium, which is pretty cool. You've got saltwater mixing right here, which is very convenient. You've got a drain and another bucket to drain all the water in, with a very cool drain at the bottom. So I see if we can pick it up right here.
Oh, it's filthy.
Well, that's the drain, and oh, I can see a dead coral right over there. So it probably came from this aquarium. And then what do we have for supplementation? I see there's a calcium reactor. This is the one that you prefer?
Yeah, this is a German-made calcium reactor. I've tried another one. I didn't have any luck with it, so this one is
coralline.
Really well.
Very nice. So you've got that. You've got the Kumur.
It ties in with these two pumps here
that actually do
the flow and the calibration and all that.
Phenomenal. So you've got a mixture of everything here. You have the newest and the oldest. You have a little bit of manual and a lot of automated. And I was really impressed by the charts that you produce, where you actually are monitoring, because you have some technical background.
I track everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I focus on alkalinity and KH, but of course I'm testing every once in a while other parameters that go off.
Ron, thanks a lot for inviting us over and showing us both the front and the back of your aquarium. I've never seen an aquarium this old, and it's so nice to see things so vibrant and healthy, and I'm sure there's a lot of ups and downs behind it, but I think live in the moment, and what we have right now is pretty awesome in my book. So thanks a lot, Ron.
You're welcome.